Some tools in the toolbox, while not attractive, are still.
Yes.
Good evening, Mr. Rickman,
Here.
Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Duval, Mr. Badura,
Here.
Mr. Vine, here, Mr. Davis.
Here.
Mayor Benjamin.
Here, would everyone join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Councilman McDowell, would you lead us in the word, please?
I shall. Let's bow our heads. We are blessed to be a part of the fabric of this new year. And we simply ask that you might touch and energize each of us as our city continues to expand and grow itself. Lord, we know that in the midst of all of the things that has taken place in 18, we move into 19 with new priorities, new possibilities, new opportunities. We ask that thou would touch us, ignite us, and give us the energy that is necessary to get the job done. We ask it in your name.
Amen. Thank you. Mr. Assistant City Manager,
Next item is adoption of the agenda.
if you have an amendment to the agenda, item 14, to reflect the purchase of a ladder engine and to decrease the purchase amount to $1.431,847.33. The corrected item is as follows. Council is asked to approve the purchase of a ladder truck as requested by the fire department, award to emergency equipment professionals using the HGAC interlocal contract in the amount of $1,431,847.33, which is about just under $102,000 less. This vendor is located in South Haven, Mississippi. With that amendment, we entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So move.
Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor,
Moving second, discussion by Mr. Badura.
the only discussion is, I'd like to make a request to hold item 31 and 32, part of the agenda.
I'm sorry. Yes, sir. We discussed that. All right. We're going to, the amendment, item 14, we're going to hold 31 and 32. Any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to the previous question. Clerk
Mayor.
call. I'm sorry, I apologize.
What's the, I think we've got CHA's position. Is it ready? Are we ready to move with that under the appointments?
No, I think we're going to hold
You
both.
holding that?
Yeah, we're going to hold both of them.
We're going to hold both of them.
All right. Is that until next,
Yes, sir.
next meeting?
Yes, sir.
All
So
right.
Tuesday night.
All right.
Our next meeting is Tuesday night.
2 weeks.
No, it's a 1 week.
Yeah, next week.
Next week.
So we're going to do the retreat as well?
Yeah.
And meet? Okay. Yeah, okay. Shanique, would you talk to Ashley and just make sure we have clarity on how many slots we have on DDRC in particular next week and which ones are open? I was thinking about that after a conversation we had earlier. All right. Move the previous question. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Rickman,
Aye.
Mr. McDowell.
Yes.
Mr. Duval, Mr. Badura.
Aye.
Mr. Vine. Aye. Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is public input related to agenda items.
All right. Is there a motion to approve the minutes, approve the minutes of December 18, 2018?
Moved.
Second.
Is it second, any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to the previous question. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Rickman.
Aye.
Mr. McDowell.
Yes.
Mr. Duval, Mr. Vine. Aye. Mr.
Aye.
Badura.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye, and thanks to the clerk for expeditious completion of those minutes.
And
Is
our-
is there a motion to approve the consent agenda, items 7 through 24?
So move.
Second.
Move to second, discussion. Mr. Rickenman.
Yeah, I failed to mention this earlier when you were making the adjustment on item 14. Item 15 is less than what's on it as well, due to a rollover contract. I just thought it'd be helpful if Clint just maybe explained that before we voted on it.
Clint?
So item 15 pertains to the water and sewer rate study update, which we do every year with Black and Beach Consulting. This is a contract renewal. The value quoted there includes, their proposal value is about $108,000 as the base services. There are a few optional services that we can include if we so want to. So that's a not to exceed cost. It includes some contingency there. So their base proposal for the water and sewer update is around $108,000. Just wanted to
All right.
clarify that.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Move the previous question. Clerk call the roll.
Aye.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval? Mr. Badura?
Aye.
Mr. Vine?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin?
Aye.
Our next item is in zoning planning matters, second reading. Item 25, annexation, interim comprehensive plan map amendment, and interim zoning map amendment.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Move the previous question. Clerk call the roll.
Mr. Rickman?
Aye.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval? Mr. Badura?
Aye.
Mr. Vine?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin?
Aye.
Next, we'll move into a public hearing, ordinances first reading. Item number 26 is ordinance number 2018-078, establishing a moratorium on shared mobility vehicles.
Is anyone here to speak in favor of or against the ordinance? Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? I would say that we're going to have a significant discussion over the next year with a good committee of businesses and others who have interest in this product being offered in Columbia, but making sure we do it right in the interest of the public health and safety, and we look forward to making something happen here. Move the previous question. Clerk call the roll.
Mr. Rickman?
Aye.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval? Mr. Badura?
Aye.
Mr. Vine?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin?
Aye.
Item number 27, ordinance number 2018-079, amending the 1998 Code of Ordinances of the City of Columbia, South Carolina, Chapter 12, Motor Vehicles and Traffic, Article 1, in general, to
We
add
took them
section...
both together, but that's okay. We'll move the previous, I move approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Move the previous question. Clerk call the roll.
Mr. Rickman?
Aye.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval? Mr. Badura?
Aye.
Mr. Vine?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin?
Aye.
Our next section is resolutions. Item number 28, resolution number R 2018-111, certifying building sites as an abandoned building pursuant to the South Carolina Abandoned Buildings Right.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Question, Mr. Duval. Was that when it was,
Actually,
It was drafted in 20.
that was drafted?
Yeah, that's a good question. When we drafted those would have been 2018.
Well, is that any different, how's that any different than 26 and 27?
Yeah, I think it's when it's drafted.
I guess when it was drafted and filed.
Move on.
All right, with the previous question?
Mr. Rickman?
Aye.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mr. Badura?
Aye.
Mr. Vine?
Aye.
Mr. Davis? Mayor Benjamin?
Aye, excited to see what's happening at 1321 Lofts. All right, 29.
Item 29, resolution number R 2018-114, authorizing the city manager to execute the Boyd Island naming rights agreement between the City of Columbia and Darnell W. and Susan F. Boyd Foundation, Inc., Saluda
Move
Riverwalk.
approval.
Second.
Moving second, discussion. This is really exciting.
I was saying, I'm excited to see what's
Yeah,
happening here.
this
gonna be
is an
great.
exciting one. Thankful to the Boyd family and certainly Mr. Boyd's, one of his many legacies here in the city. With the previous question, clerk call the roll.
Mr. Rickman?
Aye.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mr. Badura?
Aye.
Mr. Vine?
Aye.
Mr. Davis? Mayor Benjamin?
Aye.
Item number 30, resolution number R 2018-115, authorizing the city manager to execute a purchase agreement for bulk water to Stonegate subdivision between the City of Columbia and Carolina Water System.
A motion?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, move to the previous question, clerk call the roll.
Mr. Rickman?
Aye.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mr. Badura?
Aye.
Mr. Vine?
Aye.
Mr. Davis? Mayor Benjamin?
Aye. Items during the work session. I know we discussed a comprehensive discussion around homelessness going to the Committee on Community Development, Economic Development, and Missy and the rest of the staff bring our partners around the table to discuss if we can be even more strategic in the ways in which we meet the needs of our unsheltered citizens. So I move that go to the Community and Economic Development Committee. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Move the previous question. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Rickman.
Aye.
Mr. McDowell.
Aye.
Mr. Duval.
Aye.
Mr. Badura.
Aye.
Ms. Devine.
Aye.
Mr. Davis. Mayor Benjamin.
Aye. Are there any other items at work session or items for committee report or referral? All right. Now, in the period of public input, we have 3 citizens who signed up to, I assume, speak or at least make their presence known. First is Mr. Solis, signed to speak, and of course, we know the rules. Reggie, please.
Good evening to all the members of the City Council. I hope everybody enjoyed your holidays. Just as a reminder, I'm Reggie, Director of Needful Things Columbia and Lexington SC, Board Member of Homeless Helping Homeless. I'm on the Steering Committee for Meal Share Program at United Way, a member of MOC, and on the Review Committee to help decide who gets funding from United Way this coming year. As I've said before, I appreciate the Council's time, and I'm here again, and will continue to return until we can find solutions to what I see are relatively easy problems to resolve. I wanted to once again, though, thank the mayor for the proclamation. Last month, joining in the nationwide recognition of Homeless Persons Memorial Day. It really meant a lot to lots of folks, and plans are already being discussed for next year. I'm not going to take too much time tonight. As you already know, I will continue to return and be repetitive until we can find some resolution to these issues. I do have 2 new questions tonight, though. Finley Park, I know that it's going to be going through some renovations, which will most likely mean that at some point the park will be closed to the public. Has anyone been discussing where things like meals, clothing, hygiene products can be given to the homeless? As I understand it, currently Finley is the only park where these things are permitted. Something we'll have to think about.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And how many signatures does it take on a petition to seriously be considered for a proposed law? I've been circulating a petition on those 2 Ninth Circuit Court rulings, and I want to know what it takes to be considered to be written up for a law.
4 signatures.
4 signatures, that's all? I'll have at least 1,000 in the next month.
All right.
The 2 problems that came to you in the past were the laws punishing homeless people sleeping in public when there's no other options, and the other thing was about items being taken and thrown away. And I do have a question about that. Are things like bicycles and other usable items put into the police auction? And doesn't that equal to the same as stolen goods being sold? What is the difference between police seizing personal property and selling it and somebody stealing from somebody's home and selling it? And I'm still concerned about the weather center. Can somebody answer that question?
Yeah, this obviously is not the best format for a dialogue. Let's take the questions on one by one. I'm not sure there's a police auction of items, but the motion we made earlier about having this roundtable discussion around various homeless issues, and those are all important issues, particularly the one about Finley Park, if we're able to move forward with development there. I'd love to have you around the table as we discuss those as well, in addition to the other issues. And when I said 4 earlier, I just meant an act of city council. So you don't have to have a petition to have an issue addressed by council at all.
Okay, very good. As I've said before, each time I come here, I would like to see Columbia be a leader in accepting these policies instead of one of the last, as is our reputation. I do want this state in which I live to be an example to others that we care about our fellow human beings. And lastly, the challenge that I made to you, have you considered it?
I have.
One thing, I think that if you would accept this challenge, your public image would grow so much. Because I think people would really, and how many people are willing to do that?
Sure.
So, but if you or any of your council members or representatives for you do decide to experience what too many of our fellow homeless Colombians do daily, I would be willing, despite my own health, to accompany that person and show them the real side of homelessness. Once again, I thank you, Mayor, and City Council members for taking the time to listen to me.
Well, thank you. And Mr. Kaufman, can we make sure that when we do gather, I do want Mr. Solis in the room to discuss homelessness issues? So, all right. Thank you so much.
you.
All right. Mr. Lazarus Laseth? Did you want to speak? I don't know if you just signed in when you came in. There's some folks.
Hi, my name is Lazarius Lyseth. I already talked to Councilman Sam Davis, but it was about being recognized as the only national food title here in Columbia, South Carolina. So I wanted to know if there was anything I can go about doing for that.
That's the only national what? I didn't hear.
National food title here in Columbia, South Carolina.
Tell us about it. Tell us about it. Tell us about it.
Okay, well, in 2016, I actually got an email from Thomas English Muffins saying, hey, do you want to compete in a competition for food trucks? And at first I thought it was a fake email, so I didn't answer. I thought it was spam. And then they called me and was just like, hey, we want you to compete. So for 5 weeks, I went against every state in the United States. And for 5 straight weeks, I beat out every state in the United States to win the grand prize of $25,000. So I won that prize, and I actually took that to make the restaurant that I have today. So I just used the money to fund it, so that way I don't have to take out like a loan for the restaurant. So now I have the twist. So now we do different things like we have different sponsorships from Sara Lee, Arnold Bread, and we're currently going on Guy's Grocery Game at the end of this month. So we're always, I guess, reinventing different things.
Where's your restaurant?
Two Notch Road. It's right across the street from Dunkin' Donuts and Big Lots. So it's like in the plaza right across the street from there. Okay. So yeah.
Yeah, we first met through the North Columbia Business Association. He was just kind of getting off the ground. And somehow that slipped through the cracks. And I think, given what you've been, where you are now, and how you got there, and the fact that you're local.
Brought some food.
You're local. Yeah, we can let us. I'll work with some colleagues and some other folks and see how we can kind of put that together on your behalf. It's a plus for the city, really. You know.
Yeah, let's spend some time chatting about it, all right? Okay. We'd love to recognize your success, all right, and help promote it, okay?
All right, thank you all.
All right, absolutely. And Ms. Christy Savage? No, okay. All right, any other citizens wanted to address who didn't sign up to speak? Seeing none, we'll move the previous, well, I'm sorry, we'll move, motion, is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
We'll move the previous question. Y'all don't want to stay here for like 15, 20 more minutes longer?
Let's
Move the previous question, clerk call the roll.
Aye. Yes. Aye.
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 I think Jeff Palin may have a new record, who knows?